What do you know? You're just a bumbling dimwit. You don't know how to deal with people, that's for sure. So maybe you were bullied in high school, and it means you didn't know how to socialize with people properly. And now you're afraid of people. You've got a mental illness. You're evidence for a serious flaw in our education system because you're using words you don't understand and you're pretentious. Maybe it would be better if you weren't stupid. And you're worthless, useless, bitter, resentful, and unproductive. What makes you think you're important enough to pay attention to anyways? Your uncle sexually molests you. Think about that.
Oh, Ethan, you were the chosen one. You were supposed to defeat cancel culture, not join it, not literally talk about how, well, cancel culture can actually be a good thing. Yet here we are. And Tim Pool thinks he knows exactly what Ethan Klein is up to, and perhaps that might be the case. Ethan has been just losing viewers, followers every single day, whether it was what he's really trying to do is appeal to mainstream media. It's super obvious. In mainstream media is obviously, you know, the biggest bane in their existence is, of course, Joe Rogan. So that explains his weird anti-Joe Rogan rant last week that cost him thousands of followers. Then this week, he picked Jordan B. Peterson to soapbox about. And he's been coping and seething ever since. I don't really understand why you'd want to destroy your following, but let's take a look. By the way, you guys are doing an awesome job subscribing to the channel. We finally started kind of growing again. If underneath the video, there's a red subscribe button, please do consider clicking it. I know it's a pain and you have to like sometimes create an account, but I would greatly, greatly appreciate if you took a second to do it. It's the only way you'll really ever find my videos. And it seems like now that people are subscribing, YouTube's actually recommending videos again. So it's a free way that you can really help. So anyway, Tim Pool this morning tweets out, everyone talking about H3 and Jordan Peterson after Ethan Klein deleted his interviews. I think the issue is that for months, Ethan's podcast has been suffering, losing subs and views, and he's trying to find a new market. Now, look, I would say that it's kind of happening to all of us. You know, I don't think YouTube is probably growing like it used to. That's why they're really interested in live streams and why they tried shorts and why they've tried all these different things to try to get the young kids on it. But they're more interested in TikTok and Instagram and other types of things like that. Even I would say my channel, even though like subscribers are growing, it's not like the old days when I could get like 10, 20,000 subs a day at some times. Now I have to beg and plead just to get a couple hundred, and I'm still thankful for it. But just like any business cycle, you end up reaching kind of this maturity point. You have kind of your explosive growth. Then most people just level off forever, and that's I think really what's happened to Ethan. I mean, bringing up his podcast numbers. Yeah, I mean, he's not exactly losing subs, but if you go back, to like a year ago, just nothing. Nothing. That's a weekly one. But if we look at, it's been, he lost 10,000 in, I have a hard time reading that. December, lost 10,000, November, lost 20,000 the month before that. Lost 0, congratulations, the month before that. Lost 10,000 the month before that. And like, that's a long run. I mean, that's a really long run of stagnation, September through January. And I suspect he'll lose some more subscribers this month. And, Ethan, just like all of us in this space, we look at this stuff. I don't necessarily care that much about subscribers, except for the fact that with my videos, they're not getting recommended unless you subscribe. Ethan doesn't have that problem because he's on the correct side of YouTube's politics. Like, he has Susan Wojcicki's contact information. But Tim seems to think that, and here you have Sinatra saying, oh, this is why Ethan is causing drama. Now he's showing his original H3 Productions channel, which isn't necessarily fair because he hasn't uploaded to it in like forever. And that may be the meme. losing subscribers every month, but, he doesn't upload to it. So, I mean, why would he? You see, like, however, based on his shift, it may be inverted that H3 got woke and is going broke. Not that he isn't super rich and successful, but that his change in politics is causing his show's decline. Well, certainly. I mean, look, like I said before in the other, in a previous video, there were a lot of people that accepted Ethan's kind of stumbling, refinding himself now as a leftist pro-cancel culture guy, but they stuck around and watched the podcast because they like Ethan. There are a lot of people that watch my videos that don't agree with every one of my political takes, and I'm glad you're here. But now it's getting more overt, it's getting more consistent, and people can't really ignore it. I mean, he started that show with Hassan called The Leftovers, and it did nothing for his channel. Nothing. That is shocking to me. Now, back here, when the show was really growing, he had Trisha Paytas. People wanted to tune in to hear Trisha Paytas and him go at it. Nobody cares about two guys that agree on everything. And you can see his Twitter is just hemorrhaging subs or followers. Sunday, when he tweeted out his pro-cancel culture stuff, or was it Saturday? Saturday lost 700 followers. Sunday lost nearly 2,000. Today, 19. That's not really relevant. I don't know if it's going up or down, but he's been pretty quiet on Twitter. It's going down. He's been pretty quiet on Twitter. Why? Because he does this. This is what his take was. Okay, so this was Saturday, right? He quote tweets Jordan Peterson, right? I don't have any problems, obviously, criticisms for what he said here. But he says, and Jordan, regarding cancel culture, the only thing that has ever guided me is my own moral compass. Everything else is just noise. The mob is free to cancel me as it will, and they have plenty of times. Ethan Klein has literally never been canceled. So either he doesn't understand cancel culture. He had his N-word clip come out. No one really cared about that. He had his infamous, they had security guards, and they were tall and black. No one really cared about that. He didn't, I suppose you could argue when he went up against PewDiePie, but that was self-inflicted. Canceling is more, I don't think he's ever really been quote-unquote canceled unless I'm missing something. But then he says, actually, canceling, as you call it, sometimes is a good experience, as painful as it may be. Literally what? People have ended their own lives over this, Ethan. Have you forgotten that? The times when I've received the most flack on things I've said are the times I've learned the most about myself and the world and how to be more mindful and caring of others. He is literally saying here that cancel culture is actually a good thing. What? Who's writing these tweets for him? Of course, everyone just replying with his N-word. Look, I don't care. I would never want him deplatformed. I don't want him to get strikes for this. And as far as I know, people say he's apologized for it. Again, he doesn't have to apologize to me. I'm not black, or of the persuasion that the bundle of sticks word would offend. But, I would never want him struck or anything like that. To me, he was clearly saying it, and he was using these words as some sort of comedic value or something like that. 2016 YouTube was a weird time. But you see here, cancel culture doesn't exist because rich people with a strong fan base are able to jump back and will always be one heck of a take. That's the sound of Ethan losing yet another battle he foolishly began. That's the funniest thing about all of this. Look, and I've done it too, okay? I've done it too. I've picked battles that I shouldn't have and came out looking bad. But Ethan is a pro at it. That's 2 in 2 weeks. Picked a fight with Rogan, lost that. Picked a fight with Jordan B. Peterson, lost that. The thing is, if this is a marketing tool, if he genuinely thinks okay, I can get rid of all these evil edgy boys out of my viewership, but what's the trade-off? Shouldn't he be gaining followers from his new lefty, the people he's down on his knees trying to please? What I think is the very people that he's trying to appeal to know he's a phony. And they're not embracing him. And him bringing Hassan onto his show hasn't helped him either, like he thought it would. This is all part of some like rebranding he's trying to do. That's just not working because I don't think he's genuine. I don't think he believes half the stuff he says because he says it and then he can literally never back it up. Calling Jordan Peterson a gateway to the alt-right is absurd. Okay, but even more absurdly is claiming that to your 3 million followers without a shred of evidence. And you have, where are these? Yeah, Klein says the words, the actually meme, like nobody is agreeing with this. I mean, I suppose he obviously has some support, but I mean, like, they're not following him on Twitter. They're unfollowing him by the thousands. Seriously, you do reckon that you've been properly canceled? You'd not be anywhere near where you are now and probably benefit of much of your income and opportunities, much like the other people who bore the actual brunt of cancel culture. You were criticized at best. This has been such a weird kind of, and he doesn't, I know he watches my videos because he responds to my tweets all the time. The last tweet he had was quote tweeting me with a joke about peeing on the floor. Except this is how you know that Ethan Klein doesn't really know what he's talking about, okay? Because I asked a legitimate question, right? Jordan Peterson is no more a gateway to the alt-right than you are, Ethan. Deleting your interviews is truly a new low. Exactly how many members are there, Ethan? Do you have any idea? Okay. I also asked in his previous tweet, do you even know what that means, what that group of people are? Right? He didn't like that my tweet got a little too many likes, so he responds with a stupid goof, right? That's fine. You got a bunch of Twitter likes for it, but it doesn't, it just makes you, it just proves my point. You don't know what you're talking about. This is what taking the moral high ground does for you. Now, again, this looks like people are probably posting the H3, which isn't necessarily a legitimate criticism, His replies are full of people mocking him and roasting him for his previous stuff. It's interesting to me how, a lot of people, that's apparently some sort of meme of me, and that's fine. Like, he can obviously dislike me, but, this is like the intellectual equivalent, like hanging out with Hassan and him. These are people that think just because, it's easy to ratio me. You have 2.4 million followers. You have, 30 times the number of followers I have. Okay. Why don't you respond in thread instead of quote tweeting then, right? The thing is, it's easy to ratio somebody when you have like this level of intellect, like L plus ratio plus you fell off. And you get a bunch of likes, you think you won the argument. And so like ad populum fallacy in real life, right? You think, oh, my tweet got a bunch of likes. I must be winning this argument. But you're not. You're not proving yourself. You're not actually convincing anybody you know what you're talking about. You're appealing to the lowest common denominator and thinking that's some sort of own. It just doesn't work that way, Ethan. And you're not helping your viewers by not actually explaining your views. What you're doing is you're just screaming something into the void and demanding they agree with you. And if they don't agree with you, you don't bother trying to get them to agree with you by providing any kinds of logic or facts for why you said what you said. You just have a meltdown and run off Twitter for a few days. This is one heck of a dumpster fire I've enjoyed watching. Please, before you leave, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you click that subscribe button down below the video. I upload multiple videos a day, 6 days a week, and I greatly would appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed. We'll talk to you again real soon.